Welcome to Not What You Were Expecting,
You feed your baby with love and that's what it needs.
a podcast about pregnancy and motherhood.
Our whānau are at the lowest end of the demographic scale. That upsets me.
Brought to you by Elevit.
Let's stop defining how we should be doing this.
I'm your host, Anika Moore. So this episode, I have My Māori Midwife, well, not my actual midwife, but Beatrice Leatham from the TV show My Māori Midwife. Beatrice will give us a Māori perspective on pregnancy and birth and tell us her best work stories about being at the coalface of the most epic moment in people's lives. Kia ora, Beatrice, e mihi nui I tēnei rā, kei te pihi a koe.
Oh, kei te whai, kia ora, Anika. Thank you for having me.
So you are the famous My Māori Midwife, and you're from Gisborne.
Yeah.
Was it a calling?
I was actually in the moment of, you'll relate to this, pushing my first baby out. And I looked at the midwife that was looking after me at the time, and it was back when you had a GP, you didn't have a midwife like how I work. And she was on shift, and she was a beautiful woman. She was a Scottish lady. And as I'm literally pushing my little Jess out, I looked at this woman and I thought, whoa, you get to catch my baby. You get to touch my baby, the very first person in this world.
Yeah.
I want to do what you do.
You are a midwife, but you bring a different layer to your practice, that of Te Ao Māori. Can you talk our listeners through what that means?
I've always prioritised and looked after whānau. It's not a woman you're looking after a whānau and their, either beginning or continuing of their whānau development.
Yeah.
For me, I want my mamas and their little peepees to come as healthily and as happily as they can into this world.
Yeah.
And if that means negotiating, other challenges that they have, health, financial, whatever it is, then I feel like as Māori midwives, it's not necessarily about knowing traditional pathways and birthing, and I find that term quite difficult to define.
The aspects of Te Ao Māori that you incorporate in your midwifery, how do you think it differs from mainstream midwifery?
That's a really good question, because I am sitting here thinking, what do we do differently? Is it just simply because we're Māori, and walking in a room? It's different to a non-Māori midwife walking in the same room, doing the same job, but obviously, tikanga is just a given. If your whānau come and they want to practice something particular, I will facilitate that as long as you're safe and baby's safe and we're all, I think we just have an understanding of what it feels like to feel vulnerable and a minority, and, we see the challenges and try and address them face up. I will never do anything with women without talking to them about it. If SIPs have to be involved, then I'm upfront about that. But it's the way I think I approach those kind of dynamics for them, where this is about supporting you to stay a whole whānau, and we need to get on board with it, because otherwise this is worst case scenario, your baby's going to get taken. This is absolute and what we're going to aim for, and I'm going to support you through that journey. So Te Ao Māori, to me, in today, that's our challenges is...
You're working in a system designed for Pākehā and by Pākehā, right?
Yeah.
And you're living in Te Ao Māori, and you're trying to navigate the two worlds so that they sync in with each other?
Yeah, I'm living in a world today where we all are, where, yes, we've come so far, and we are so far ahead of our Indigenous brothers and sisters around the world as Māori, but we've still got a long way to go.
Can you tell me about families catching babies?
Yeah, so mothers birth their babies, and if I'm lucky enough to be there and help this little baby come out, then that's me. Otherwise, there's dad there, or nan or auntie or sister. I had one birth where the sister caught her little sister. Well, that was pretty special. What I usually do is just help the initial, when baby's little head's coming out. Do that part and make sure, we're not I don't foresee any that baby will need extra help to come out. And then,
What long-term positive effects do you see with these practices?
women are taking control of their health and their baby's health, and you get a papa to catch their baby, and, you know, in that moment where they're sobbing and they're the most staunchest male out, that you may have felt maybe a little bit intimidated when they walk in the room, and then you get them to catch their babies and they just melt. You know, to me, it's like that's a healing for whānau. That's a moment where you just did this for your baby, now you better look after your baby.
Do you think these ideas should be encouraged in non-Māori births in Aotearoa?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it is. I think we've got a lot of amazing midwives. Our profession does an amazing job. However, we still have, Māori, the worst statistics, and it hasn't changed since 21 years, and it's still the same.
Yeah.
So we're not making a big enough difference in my mind.
What are you feeling when you're feeling
Get
emotional?
upset.
Yeah, when you get upset.
Because that's upsetting, you know. Our babies are the most unwellest babies. Our mothers are the most unwellest women. And often our whānau are at the lowest end of the demographic scale. That upsets me because in 20 years we haven't really made a difference.
Hasn't moved.
It hasn't moved.
Is it taught in the curriculum when you become a midwife? You know, te Ao Māori and that whole, the Māori way?
All our midwifery education schools are mainstream. I think some incorporate, you know, the tiriti has to be incorporated because the model that we practice on is called the partnership model, and that is based on the foundation of the tiriti o Waitangi.
Is it ticking boxes or is it making a difference?
If we were getting it really right, we would be making a bigger difference. However, the difference has to come from the whole health spectrum.
Yeah.
It has to go beyond maternity. It can't just sit in maternity's responsibility to make a difference to the maternity outcomes.
Yeah.
That we would be naive if we thought that was going to make the difference. We're talking, you know, we've got so many homeless mothers. I had a mother who was in her car for 2 weeks because there was no homes for her to be in. So, you know, like, you can't put that down to maternity. When you say you've got a young person ringing you saying, or texting, that they don't want to be in this world anymore, that can't just be down to the midwives to heal. You know, we need better services, and that's got to go beyond health.
So you also must deal with difficult births where the mother or baby has an issue. How do you keep your head on during those moments?
Sometimes you don't. You're like that duck, you know, when you see a duck gliding along the lake and their little legs are just kind of...
Yeah.
That's the internal. Often you can foresee it, you know, you can sort of, like, obviously you're looking after this woman, you can sort of start seeing there's warning signs when sometimes if you're lucky, you get warning signs. So prepping whānau, like, okay, we're doing this now because, you know, A, B and C, or I'm going to do this now because blah, 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 blah. I'm going to pull this bell now and a whole lot of people are going to come running in, but we're all here to keep you safe. Just talking women through it and being their focus, being confident in who you're working with, being confident in the relationship you've got with a woman that you may have only developed within the last hour.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm looking after my mate has got the weekend off, so I'm looking after one of her whānau, you get good at building a rapport quite quickly.
Do you have any amazing birth stories that you'd like to share? Like any moments where it's been, well, incredible?
I just think they're all incredible. I looked after... She's an old school friend. Her daughter had a caesarean section, and she sung the entire. She sung her moko, beautiful oriori and waiata until her baby was born, and it was a caesarean section, and the whole theatre was just, you know, in awe of this moment, and it was a really beautiful birth.
You crying the whole time? I would have been sobbing.
I was trying not to. And her daughter was like,
oh. She would have been like, I've heard this ori ori many times.
And she's got the most beautiful voice.
That's an amazing birth story.
Yeah.
Now's a good time for me to tell you about Elevit. The first 6 to 8 weeks of pregnancy are so important for your baby. Even if only the size of a kidney bean, it's a time when their vital organs are growing, so you want to make sure you're in good health. Taking Elevit at least 1 month before you start trying can build up the essential nutrients you need from the day you conceive. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. Vitamin supplements are supplementary too and not a replacement for a balanced diet. Okay, so let's get to pre- and postpartum mental health. What are the signs people can look out for in regards to pre- and postnatal depression, whether you're a partner or the person going through it?
So what I always talk to my mums about is that you'll have moments where you'll feel a bit down, especially in the first few days. You know, that's normal, hormones, sleep deprivation, blah, blah, blah. If you've got a history of depression, if you've got a history of depression in your whānau, you are more susceptible to depression or anxiety. If you're having to work at being social, or you walk into a room and you instantly get a feeling in your puku that is just like, oh God, I don't, you know, you don't want to be there, but it's your family and you're starting to feel like that because it's hard work, or you put on a smile, you put on a face, they leave, you go back to being blank and empty.
Joyless and numb? Are we talking that?
Please talk to somebody. That's, you know, please just say, ring me, text me, just say, you know, this is how I'm feeling.
What do you find helps mothers in their physical recovery?
Whānau members that support the breastfeeding, that really know, you know, it's tough, it's hard work. Those first few days are freaking traumatic.
I remember.
You know, they're sore, then you've got this little leech getting on you every freaking hour.
Yeah.
You know, this is a major change in everybody's life. We've got this new little human being that we now are responsible for. You know, we have to feed and nurture and take care of, but also our little babies need breastfeeding to reduce their risk of all of the stuff that we leading the statistics for. Yep. You know, respiratory illness, asthma, allergies, diabetes, obesity, breast cancer reduces. So it's not, doesn't make a little difference, it makes a massive difference. I was a mother who bottle fed to my babies quite soon after.
Yeah.
My son, I gave him a bottle. He was 3 months old and he slept. He really slept like he had a good... And I thought, oh, yay.
This is the secret, eh?
A few days later, I thought, oh, I'll give him another bottle. A few days later, I'll give him... And next minute, I'm giving him bottles. Mm-hmm. And I share this with, you know, women, that it just happens just like that. And before you know it, your baby's bottle feeding and they're not breastfeeding anymore. And that's a tragedy for them, you know, but it's not the worst thing in the world, you know, let's not get
too... It's not, but breast is best. This is your advice.
If we succeeded at breastfeeding, then great. If we didn't, then okay, that's okay too, because you're a great mother, no matter how you feed your baby. Yeah. You feed your baby with love and that's what it needs,
So where can those interested in the Te Ao Māori approach go to learn more?
We're talking about mothers or we're talking about midwives?
Well, mothers and midwives. You know, how do you get a My Māori midwife and how do you learn how to be a My Māori midwife?
I don't actually think that's a definition.
I can't help it. It's a TV program.
I know. And it's just the way you say it, My Māori midwife. People that you know, whānau.
Word of mouth, eh?
Your tipuna, that you know, your nannies and your papas. There's always, you know, traditionally there was in each hapu there was a person who specialised in birthing, and most of those people were male. We are lucky we still have some of those experts around, but you know, that's whānau knowledge.
Okay.
For those kind of practices.
Because there's not a website, eh? It's not like there's a website where you join up, because it's all whanaunga based. It's all rohe, iwi, hapu.
Yeah. And for those mums that are detached from possibly who they are and, you know, they're Māori, urban, but also not so urban, Yeah, just ask.
Okay.
And your whānau, probably, first off. Yeah.
Are there any words of wisdom you can offer to the listeners or advice for those who are feeling a bit apprehensive about their journey?
Just be confident. Be confident in yourself as a woman, and your body will do what it's meant to do. You may have some health challenges, but you'll get through that.
Yeah.
You know, let's stop defining how we should be doing this. Your whānau will help you through if you have a positive whānau to help you through. If not, get a good midwife.
Yeah. It's such a huge, beautiful subject and passion.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I think of babies coming into the world, I feel so emotional. And you doing that for a job, it just, you must just feel joy all day. I mean,
yeah,
worry as well and all the other feelings, but mostly joy.
Yeah, joy. Yeah, we have joy.
I'm
We have lots of sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
No, it is it's actually a privilege. My job, I see it as an absolute privilege to be there for our little babies.
I love it. Thank you so
Promo.
much. You're amazing. A big thanks to Elevit and Menevit for supporting the show and for supporting all the Kiwi parents out there. Make sure you're subscribed to the show on your podcast app